What other Maul Shadow Lord spoiler review here in Max Talks Movies. My name is Max Enberg. Today I am breaking down Maul Shadow Lord episodes 5, Chapter Inquisition, and Chapter 6, Night of the Hunted here. So if you guys are new, please hit that subscribe button. Welcome into Max Talks Movies. Let's get started talking about Maul Shadow Lord again. This is a full spoiler review. So if you've not seen two newest episodes that came out on Monday, go check them out. They're 23, 20, and 22 minutes each. So please watch those episodes, then come back here, check out my spoiler review. So I've already been loving the show so far, and episodes 5 and 6 continue just to absolutely deliver. Episode 5, there's really no action in it. It's really the setup to the all of the fun action set pieces that we're going to get in episode 6. So the Empire has taken over Janix here in episode 5. Lawson is being interrogated, and really those police officers are being interrogated by Merrick, who is the first brother, who is the Inquisitor in this mission. If you're not familiar, Merrick was the Inquisitor who we saw in the live action Ahsoka series a couple years ago. He was the one who everyone theorized was Ezra Bridger underneath the mask, never got a reveal, and then Ahsoka sliced him down the middle, and all of that green magic came out of his body. So by the Night Sisters. So we don't know if Merrick has been dead since for a very long time. Obviously, we'll find out here. But Merrick is investigating this episode here, and he is using the Force Echo to make sure where things are going. But obviously, he interrogated not just the police captain, but also Lawson as well. Maul has a very easy way to get out of Janix, but he does not want to leave Janix, and it's beginning to have not a great look for the rest of his group. A lot of the Mandalorians say, this is going to stop us making more money. Rook, who is the person who's helping, really number two person in command, she's trying to still keep everyone in line and trust Maul. But Maul is basically risking everyone's lives and their financial gain in order for him to get a new apprentice. And that's going to be the interesting domino effect here, right? So you already have the Mandalorians doubting his plan. I think there could be a way where Rook is not going to be in on this and is like, why are we wasting our time going after her when we can just escape and keep running our financial gains, right? So it's going to be interesting, that domino effect. Devin and Diodaki are trying to escape the planet as well, but things do not go well, and they need a safe haven, which they turn to Lawson, which obviously is not great. His son tries to go to the station. He gets put away by two boots. Lawson's son Riley does call his mom, who we know found out last week was actually working for the Empire. We now learn this week she's working for the Empire in Coruscant, which probably means she must have some very high-end job with the Empire, which much means she could have direct communication with Darth Sidious, Emperor Palpatine. So that is a very interesting note here. She must be very high in the ranks if she has that job on Coruscant. But this all sets up the big action set pieces, that we get in episode 6. But even before that, starting episode 5, the last thing I want to talk about in episode 5 is Devin and Diodaki have this conversation where Diodaki just says, whatever we have to do, we'll do whatever it takes just to, we just got to keep surviving, right? And Devin says very similar things to what Maul said, which is she's like, I don't really like Maul the person, but he makes valid points. It feels like we are wasting our power just for us, just to survive and move on, not to really help people or anything like that. And again, it's not about using power is never what a Jedi is supposed to be saying, right? They're supposed to be, restraining their power in order to help others. They're not trying to use any sort of power for any gains personally, right? So the fact that she's saying that, she definitely feels conflicted. She loves her master, but she does agree with what Maul says, right? So that sets up the big set pieces in episode 6. So sadly, the Jedi are douchebags in this episode because they have nowhere else to go. Diodaki and Devin turn to Captain Lawson. They go to his house, which of course instantly gets raided by Merrick. We get some fun lightsaber duels. Devin goes to protect Riley while Lawson and Diodaki are after Merrick. They take one of the ships, they escape. Lawson goes to, again, Maul sees that there is an Inquisitor on looking, right? And Maul says it's really the perfect opportunity because this will now see that me and Devin are on the same side and we're allies fighting a true enemy. So that's why it kind of worked out that the Empire's here, so Maul can prove to Devin that they're on the same side, fighting for the same thing. Not he's not representing the Empire in any sort of way. So we have that going on. We get the scene where she goes back to her. They go back to, how do I say this? Yeah, Lawson's contact, who later in the episode, and she tries to help them out. They have to find another escape route, and it leads to the big train fight scene between Maul, Merrick, and Devin. It is really fantastic. The animation is just jaw dropping, right, on this show. And you could definitely tell that Sam Witwer, if you know the behind the scenes, he did a lot of the lightsaber duel, at least showing what he wants Maul to look like in animation. They didn't do the same thing in Clone Wars, so they actually did like how do I explain this? Where they actually had Ray Park come in, film the lightsaber battle, and they put that in animation. They didn't really do that here, but they at least had Witwer try to explain on how Maul should be moving. And I thought it was fascinating watching Maul fight Merrick, right? Because Merrick has the tangible, the technological advantage where he has double wielded lightsabers, but he can spin around without him having to do it himself. And you have Maul, who has the double wielded lightsaber, moving it around practically himself. And the dynamic of that I thought was a lot of fun. Merrick being surprised that Maul's alive. Then you have Maul and Devin working together. It was very similar vibes to when Maul and Ezra would start to work with each other in Rebels. Even though again Ezra was not pro Maul, he still worked with Maul in order to gain to stop an enemy, right? So we have this whole fight scene. Lawson is behind, tracking them from behind, ending up that Maul and Devin kind of win the fight. They split off from Merrick, and Devin looks like she's about to strike Maul, but she does stop. And Maul says, look at that. You're finally figuring out who our true enemy is. And that's the last time we see Maul, Devin, and Riley, right? So the question is Maul going to help out? How long is Devin going to be with Maul? Very interesting things. I do think, again, she loves her master, but agrees that in her eyes, she's been wasting her powers, just trying to survive and get by. And again, Diodaki might have the right idea where you have to remain hopeful. Every era of tyranny always ends. But again, they're very early on in the Empire's takeover of the galaxy. Decades and decades later, does the Empire officially stop? Because this is very shortly after episode 3. So as you see with the Stormtrooper outfits, we're still not close to A New Hope yet. So it's hopeful to think that, yes, sure, every tyranny ends in defeat, but to sit around and wait 30, 40 years for that to happen doesn't really seem feasible or a good idea either. So Devin trying to weigh her options. It's going to be fascinating if she does indeed become Maul's apprentice. Obviously, we know Maul takes over Crimson Dawn in the Solo movie, which takes place after this film. And we know he goes in exile and has one last duel with Obi-Wan in Rebels, where he's kind of by himself. He does his missions with Ezra. He's very afraid of Darth Vader, which I'll get to in a second, with those Sith Holocron episode. And he's left stranded in exile on Tatooine, where he finally loses his life to Obi-Wan. So I don't know how they're going to explain Devin. Again, there is a season 2 of this show, so it's going to be very fascinating where they lead this season off. If next season will be entirely about him running Crimson Dawn, are we going to get Kira back from Solo? Very interesting things for season 2. But the episode 6 ends with a cliffhanger where Merrick goes back and talks to someone in a hologram, says, "My lord," and says that he needs more assistance. So again, the Inquisitors don't work for Palpatine or Sidious. Even though that's who Maul is trying to go after, the Inquisitors work for obviously the Grand Inquisitor, who's voiced by Jason Isaacs in Rebels and Clone Wars, and played by Rupert Friend in Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show. But the person they really only called Lord was Darth Vader. All the Inquisitors are agents of Darth Vader. So again, I've predicted since the season started that I do believe we're going to get either in this season finale or probably the season finale or the series finale of the entire show, a Darth Maul versus Darth Vader lightsaber battle because again, Maul is terrified when Vader becomes a factor in his part of Rebels. And we never understood why Maul was so terrified. I think it's going to lead to Vader and Maul's lightsaber battle, and that sends Maul in a different direction. Now, again, because there's another season, I wouldn't be shocked if they saved that for season two. But based on this cliffhanger, we could see Darth Vader and Maul fight sometime in this season. So I am really excited. I think the show is just fantastic. It's beautifully animated, amazing score, really complex ideals. And I get glued to my TV screen every single Monday watching this show. So guys, what are your thoughts on these two episodes of Maul Shadow Lord? Let me know down in the comments. Like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you guys in another video very soon.